We turn now to our third panelist, Maria Theresa Lauron, who is here in her capacity as chair of the CSO Partnership for Development Effectiveness. And we will now hear her statement, and then we'll open up the panel for some questions, which I will pose and which I will ask you to pose, and then we will come back to them for answers and closing comments.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good afternoon, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome this opportunity to share reflections from global civil society, and we appreciate this commitment to dialogue with different actors. We may not always be on the same page on the how, but we recognize the willingness to provide this opening of a space to come together and listen to each other. So this forum is very relevant, and this panel on monitoring, tracking, and accountability, particularly so as the negotiations on the post-2015 happening in another room here in the UN, also focus on review, accountability, and follow-up. At the onset, let me make it clear that we do not undermine the political intention of the SE for All initiative, but we do wish to raise a number of concerns around tracking progress, which is monitoring, tracking commitment, which is accountability, and ambition. So we would like to also take this opportunity to invite everyone here for a critical reflection and possibly a revisit of the mantra that converting commitments to kilowatt hours for real people. What does it really mean? So what are some of the concerns that we have as civil society? First of all, how do we really define what sustainable energy is? Because there is no clear definition on what clean energy is, there is always, the risk of this being interpreted to mean including fossil fuels and unsustainable energy sources, especially upon implementation. There are now countries, corporations, and some international institutions promoting quote-unquote clean or green energy solutions that are quite disturbing for us, if not outrightly, opposing these projects, because these are highly destructive and unsustainable in nature. Some of examples of this one would be large-scale hydroelectric dams, hydraulic fracking, bioenergy schemes, agrofuels, and even nuclear power plants. Second question that we have, who is really in the driver's seat? Does sustainable energy for all promote equality, or does it reinforce inequality? Big global corporations have leadership roles and decision-making influence in the SE for All because of their supposed expertise in the energy sector. But affected communities and peoples, organic experts, have not been even part of this process at all. So there's a risk that public funds in the SE for All can be used for private investment gains because private investors, sorry to sound irreverent, want to share the risk with governments and donors, and they want to see low risks with reasonable returns or higher risk with high returns. And unfortunately, most energy investment opportunities in developing regions offer high risk with low returns. We are also very much concerned that the initiative passes, really promotes public-private partnerships that bypass state responsibilities to deliver their commitments for sustainable development. And in this case, private corporations as the one who are seen to deliver the needs, in this case, energy needs of the public, they're also the ones at country level. There are a lot of cases of them committing violations, business practices resulting to land and water and resource grabs, fossil fuel combustion, and even human rights violations. There are concerns a number of that would be used as a carbon offsetting mechanism. And I heard this morning that there's also a lot of discussions about carbon capture and storage, which does not really solve climate change, but you just put a cap and bury it under the ground. One particular concern that we have in the region about sustainable energy for all is biofuel promotion and how this results to, massive conversion of agricultural lands that we use for food production, for monocrop plantations, and, the production of clean energy that is also being used for export to developed countries. Particular examples of that would be in my home country, the Philippines, Indonesia, in Thailand, where hectares of land are being converted into supposed clean energy. And our governments now act as, some kind of landlords who lease land for 99 years, renewable for another 25 years. So that's practically 2 lifespans, no? And that's taking away food from our people, and it's resulting in the displacement of communities in violation, again, of the principles of free, prior, and informed consent. So there's a lot of policy incoherence that is happening here. And at this point, we can discuss about this later, but we would also now like to offer civil society's capacity, not just as watchdogs to the process, but as co-equal actors in development, because there's a lot of expertise from policy planning to implementation to monitoring, and we hope that the SE for All initiative, governments and business also see the value of partnering with civil society in order to make this a success. Of course, we do want to contribute to the goals of leaving no one behind, but in the larger scheme of things, leaving no one behind also means reining in those who have gone too far ahead, and also leaving, not letting anyone get away with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me then pose some questions to you. How do you think civil society can play a larger role in the attainment of the sustainable energy for all objectives? And what role can civil society play in relation to monitoring and accountability, especially framed in the context of the issues you raised by your very pointed questions and comments in your statement?
Civil society has already been Thank you very much. Civil society has long been, a crucial element in any democracy. And I think we do have this connectedness with the people on the ground, such that we can deliver on promoting or providing ownership to the process. I think ownership is very vital for the success of any initiative, and for us to be able to popularize and sensitize this initiative to our constituencies, there has to be some leveling off as well. We need to be on the same page, everyone has to be on board, and for that, civil society offers its expertise and connectedness with the people. In terms of contributing to, developing accountability for this initiative, again, civil society are there with the expertise as watchdogs. We have a lot of frameworks with which we can, measure how this project affects people in the communities, because assessment, accountability is not just about numbers. It's not just about statistics. It's not just about data. What gets measured is important, but what doesn't get measured is even more important. Statistics are very political acts. Who gets to choose which numbers, which indicators are going to be measured? I think civil society can add definite value in terms of providing the narrative or the qualitative, the story of real people, real communities being impacted by all of these projects that are being rolled out.